Hello, everyone. My name is Michael Chasen. It's an honor to be able to be here today. And very much, not only because of all the great work that the people in this room have done and the focus on entrepreneurship, but because I myself feel that a lot of the success that Blackboard has seen as a company has been a direct result of being involved in not only the more broad business community here in the Washington, D.C. area, but more specifically even the entrepreneurial community. So one of my coworkers, a gentleman that I'd actually become friends with in college, Matthew Batinsky, and I decided to take our 1 year of work experience, quit our jobs, and start a company to design software to let schools bring their teaching and learning online. If you were to go back to school nowadays, you would still go to class twice a week, but now you'd get your course syllabus online, your course material online, you would take tests and quizzes online, you'd communicate with your fellow students and teachers online. There'd be this whole online component to your traditional class experience. Blackboard software now powers that teaching and learning environment at over 3,500 institutions around the world. From what was a two-person company just starting to develop the very beginning of software to what is today a 1,200-person organization. We started with 2 or 3 schools using our software. Today we have over 3,500 institutions using our teaching and learning software and over 5,800 institutions in total now using one of Blackboard's various technology products that we offer. We started as a company that was maybe doing a couple of $1,000s of revenue. To this year, the guidance we've given for the year is over $370 million in revenue as a company. We started in a small brownstone and we started in a small brownstone in downtown D.C. Today we have an office actually only a few blocks away from the Verizon Center with over 500 employees. We have offices in just outside of Boston, in L.A., in San Francisco, in Australia. We now have 200 clients in China, 30 or 40 schools in the Middle East, for 400 schools throughout Europe, an office in Amsterdam. And from what was a very localized company here in the district, we've grown to now have reach around the world. And people say to me, Michael, wow, what a great story. I mean, to take a true entrepreneurial spirit in you and just your friends, starting a company to growing it to a global company that is now publicly traded on the NASDAQ. You must have learned so many things. And I tell people, I've learned 5 things. One of the very first lessons that I learned just through this journey was how important it is to focus on the business and not the office. And let me explain in a little bit more detail. So back in 1996, when I was working at KPMG, I had obviously learned a lot in that 1 year of answering the phone and filing paperwork. And my coworker and I, we went to our boss, a man named Greg Baroni, who is a partner at KPMG, Pete Marwick, and he was very supportive of entrepreneurs himself. And we explained our idea. We said, look, we want to leave. We're going to start our own company. And he said, Michael, I understand, I am supportive, let me help you. I know it's tough to start your own company. So I'll tell you what, no one will miss it around here. Why don't you take your desktop computers with you? And that'll help you get started. Because I know it's expensive to buy computers and give them back in a couple weeks or months once you're on your feet. But you have my permission, that'll be my help to you to get this company off the ground. I said, great. And so I remember the day. I mean, we put our desktop computers on our chairs and we're wheeling them out of the building. It was a big building. You guys probably know it. It's on 20th and M. It literally takes up an entire building. It's all marble. There are thousands of employees in it. And I remember we're wheeling the chairs out of the building, and the security guard, he stops us. And he says, you can't just take these computers out of the building. And we showed him the note that we had from our partner. And he called to verify that we could take the computers out. And he didn't stop there. He wrote down all the security numbers on all the computers. He took our driver's licenses and he photocopied them. And that was fine. We weren't stealing the computers. We had permission to take them. We were stealing the chairs. I stole 6 chairs from KPMG Marwick like that. And for those of you that are true entrepreneurs, you know that chairs, quite frankly, are very expensive. And while it's not the first thing you want to spend money on when you're starting your own company, on the other hand, you need a place to sit. And I really do believe that one of the faults of a lot of companies that ended up starting in roughly the same time was getting caught up in that idea of, well, I'm going to hire my head of HR, I'm going to have this great office, and this great whole idea about what it's like to run a business, but yet they weren't focusing on the most important aspect of that, the business model. The second thing I learned, and again, something that continued to repeat itself, was that it is important to network the network. And that may be so obvious. Everyone here may say, obviously, it is important to network. But let me tell you how crucial it was to the success of Blackboard. So we ended up starting a company, and it was just in this brownstone. And a friend of ours came by one day and said, hey, Michael, you know, there's this great organization in DC. In fact, there are multiple organizations in the area that are incredibly helpful to entrepreneurs. There's an organization called Netpreneur that links together venture capitalists and entrepreneurs and lawyers and accountants. And there's the Marilyn Dingman Center, which is a whole center focused on entrepreneurship. And then there's the Georgetown MBA program. And all these programs you can get involved in, and none of which I even knew about. And so we started going to them, and I remember I would literally go around to every single person at every event, events just like these, and I go, hi, my name is Michael Chasen, I'm starting an e-learning company. Hi, my name is Michael Chasen, I'm starting an e-learning company. And it's hard to do, and actually a lot of these events, this is scheduled fine, but a lot of these events are like 6 in the morning, and let me tell you something, 6 in the morning is not the friend of the entrepreneur. Noon is the friend of the entrepreneur. But I would get up early every day to go out there and constantly be talking about our company. And we entered every business plan competition out there. We entered every single presentation that we could give on talking about our company, not only for entrepreneurship groups, but in the field of education that we were obviously focused in, or in technology. And finally, I even remember the day we were at some speaking event, and afterwards, when everyone was socializing, someone came up to me and said, Michael, I know someone who's friends with a guy whose brother worked at a company where he met his wife. And his wife's friend works at a different company. And that company recently sold, and the founder made a lot of money. And not him, but his partner, who also made some money, said he might potentially be interested in possibly investing in a startup company, and he likes education. And with a direct lead like that, we actually met our very first angel investor, Ching Ho Fung, who ended up at the end of the day giving Blackboard $200,000, which actually allowed us to begin our angel financing round. We ended up raising a total of $500,000, which gave us not only some needed capital, but some credibility in the industry. We were able to immediately hire some people, close some big deals, and that really caused a waterfall event. We then ended up raising $3 million from venture capital from some local VCs, Novak Biddle, Aurora Funds Internet Capital Group. We then raised $10 million from Carlyle Ventures. Blackboard then went on to raise $30 million. We had investors from Kaplan, Pearson, Dell, Microsoft, and then a $50 million round, Oak Hill Capital, and a number of other both strategic investors and banks. In total, Blackboard actually ended up raising over $100 million of private capital along the way. Now, even though we didn't start, even though we started before the dot-com boom, we certainly took advantage of it to raise a lot of capital to be able to be a first mover and secure our market advantage. But all of that came about because of the idea of getting out there, sharing our story to get people who are interested. And that continues today. Even last week, I was at a conference and going around and saying, hey, my name is Michael Chasen, I'm CEO of Blackboard. Let me tell you about what we're doing now. Let me tell you about where we're going in the future. And it doesn't end.